I have a couple of questions that are connected with what we have experienced in the project that I would really love to hear your thoughts about. The first one is you talked about the follow-up. Of course, to measure societal impact, you need to go beyond the project length. So when you talk about focusing on the context and considering this time lapse, does Corada have any insights on should that be kind of connected with the funding scheme, and therefore some mechanisms from the funding agencies relate to that follow-up measurements, or else should it be connected to the strategic planning of the universities and thus connected to their, structural procedures to measure their activities? Do you have any thoughts or insights on that?
Yes. I mean, in the paper, we provide some examples of, for instance, funding schemes that are providing support to this follow-up phase for research projects. This is something that is being done, and there is a lot of discussion on this. So the researchers, and most of the time it should be probably it might be an interdisciplinary team, and not only the researchers but also the stakeholders who have been involved in all the co-creation process have to be there. But in terms of retrieving all this evidence and this follow-up and this monitoring of how the findings and the knowledge created has been implemented and has made an impact to the society or to wherever the place that this has been implemented. So there are some funding schemes, and this is one of our proposals. We are also proposing in those cases where there is not this funding scheme and there is no possibility. I mean, the way that we see that examples of organizations that are already doing this is that you have really an ongoing collaboration with the stakeholder. So that means that when you finish the project, you don't say goodbye and you don't see each other anymore. And then in 2 years' time, you go there and ask, what about the findings? Have been useful to you? But it's this ongoing collaboration. So, and normally this is the way that research works. I mean, if you work in a field, you establish some connections and some collaborations, and they are long-standing collaborations. They are not used once and then you forget. So the idea is to create these supports for researchers, but also for stakeholders to be collaborating. So this is like a more natural, then it's a more natural process to ask for impacts and to collaborate, because in many cases the information about the benefits and the improvements will remain in society, will remain on the stakeholder side. So you really need the collaboration and this dialogue going on, not as a once collaboration and that's it. So it's more this way of thinking and designing your research as a pathway, not only by yourself, but with the stakeholders.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny, that very much connects with what we have experienced in KALEIDOS. In fact, that's exactly the situation and the circumstance we are kind of diving in and working with our partners. It's basically that the ecosystem around researchers is very lively and very well connected, and if those connections are enriched and kept alive, they can actually impact both ways. So they also impact research in enriching the questions and providing challenges to address, but also, as you said, working towards a long-lasting societal impact. I would love to hear David's thoughts on how this kind of long-lasting measurements at the ecosystem level connect with the metrics that we have worked on in KALEIDOS. Do you have any thoughts on and any impressions to share on this regard? How can we bridge this kind of measurements that are required long-term with the measurements that we have been working in KALEIDOS within our ecosystems?
Yes, what we have done and the difference that I see as a researcher is that we have really tried to the study object for us is the event that the university can organize in its ecosystem. And it's not only the researcher how he will make his own research with this ecosystem. And when we start talk about the event, we need to talk about collaboration and the synergy between all of them. And the metrics we wanted to use here is really to characterize this synergy between all the partner and in one objective, the objective was to improve the good practices for knowledge valorization. So Teresa, I would like also to ask you if in the Coara initiative, now you have a big feedback of all this last year about how you have applied this your approach, and do you have a list of good practices that the researchers should apply to improve all of this?
Yes, I can speak from our working group, not on behalf of Cora, but yes, this is what is it about. I mean, I've been very general, maybe in my explanation, but we provide a lot of examples, and actually we have a section in which we recommend what funders can do, what researchers can do, what institutions can do. So, and all this knowledge is based on our discussions, but also on real case examples. So strategies that are already out there and are being implemented, and the research on these practices are showing that they are effective. So yes, it's very much, the paper is very much oriented to the practice and to being a useful tool for all those actors that are connected into the research ecosystem and that are facing this challenge of, okay, now they are asking me this and I don't know how to do it, or as a university administrator, I don't know how to support my community for them to be able to explain the societal impact and to show the societal impact and to design your research proposals and your research activities oriented to achieve this societal impact.
Thank you both. I have one final question that I think it's relevant for the network. You mentioned the role of the knowledge brokers, and I would love to hear your thoughts on who those brokers should be in the kind of organization structure, because we have our own thoughts, but I would love to hear if you have any contributions to this.
Yeah, I think that the way that this is being done it's very diverse. I mean, you have specialized units that are supporting researchers to do so, and of course it depends on the field. It's very difficult to speak for all fields because there are social science and humanities, maybe we might be more acquainted to do it by ourselves because of the nature of our work, but others it's very far away for them. So to start collaborating with the stakeholders, or how this is going to be useful for society. So to create this type of research units at the university, I think that it's key, and this is the way that universities and research institutions are doing. They are all creating these units to support all these transformations that we are urged to take up. Then I think also training to all the actors. We need to train evaluators, but we also need to train the researchers. We need to train our PhD students. We need to train our staff at the university with all these new processes and new demands that we have to face. I mean, we are in a no return point. I mean, we will not go back to citations and to impact factors. I mean, we are moving forward, and we need to make more broader the tools and the methods and the way that we capture all the benefits and all the contributions that research is making to our society.
Yes, indeed. I don't think we could agree more, and that's part of what we've been trying to also push forward in KALEIDOS with trainings also connected to the facilitation of these kind of roles of knowledge brokerage within organizations to try to connect networks and facilitates the exchange process and the measurement of those long-term societal impacts. So I think there are no further questions. We do not have much time for questions. I really thank you both for the time, and thank you attendees for joining us in the webinar today. As said, we hope we stay connected and we keep in touch. We look forward to diving into the publications from the Coara work group, which I think it's very timely and relevant for all, and also to hear more about the work from Davi in the further publications in the toolkit. So stay tuned, and thank you very much for the time. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mireia.
Thank you.